50 years ago, NBC aired a new episode of the classic Star Trek TV show. This episode was called Mirror, Mirror, and these are my honest opinions about it. We have already seen stories which explored some darker corners of a person's spirit. The most important was, of course, The Enemy Within, a story in which Captain Kirk was literally split into a weak but good man and a strong but evil man. That evil duplicate was created during a transporter accident, and the transporter plays an important role even in today's story. The Enterprise landing party, containing Captain, Scotty, Bones, and Uhura, are on the Vulcan home planet. It's a strange combination of crew members, but who am I to judge, right? They failed negotiations for getting the lithium mining rights for the Federation and decide to beam back on the ship during an ion storm. However, they then beam back to the ship. Everything seems a bit different, more militaristic, and Spock has a goatee. Isn't that a great end of a teaser? They soon find out that they're in an alternate dark universe where everybody is evil. Uhura gets assaulted on the bridge by Sulu, who is, let's say, interested in her. Maybe this episode should have been seen by the writers of Star Trek Beyond before they made their version of Sulu gay. Kirk's orders are to wipe out all Vulcans, but when Kirk refuses to do so, he gets himself into pretty serious trouble. He gives the Vulcans 12 hours to, let's say, rethink their decision, and leaves the bridge together with Mr. Chekov. When he, however, leaves the turbolift, he gets knocked down by assassins working with Chekov. However, one of the assassins betrays Chekov and helps Kirk to kill the others, except for Chekov himself. When Kirk's men arrive, they take Chekov to the Agony booth. This is a very interesting universe. Men get power by murdering their superiors, and women get power by sleeping with powerful men. Spock congratulates Kirk for his survival, but is surprised to see that Kirk doesn't want to see Chekov dead. Kirk has more important things to do. He asks the ship's computer to confirm his theory about them being in a parallel universe. When the computer confirms it and calculates the needed technical stuff, how they can get back to their own universe, Scotty and McCoy go to the engineering to take care of the tech stuff. Uhura goes back to the bridge to distract Sulu for a moment, so that he doesn't see the controls go off when Scotty gets successful. And Kirk, being the boss, has the right to go to take a nap. But there is a pleasant surprise. There is a hot woman sleeping in his bed. I visited many hotels when I worked for my former company, but I never got such a pleasant surprise. I once did find a naked Asian guy in my room, because the idiot receptionist gave to the both of us keys to the same room, but I'd really prefer to find Barbara Luna there. I mean, of course, 1967 Barbara Luna, not 2017 Barbara Luna. Spock informs Kirk that he has received orders to kill him, in the case that he won't wipe out the Vulcans, and Marlena, the hot woman, is surprised that Kirk doesn't want to kill him first. He has a special little surprise, the so-called Tantalus field, a nice little invention which can make all of Kirk's enemies disappear by press of a button. Marlena later changes to an even more sexy outfit, and Kirk manages to wonderfully insult her. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Uhura pretends that she is now interested in Sulu, but it's only a distraction. She wants to be sure he misses the blinking controls, and then slaps him. You know, it's a pretty bad idea slapping somebody in an evil universe, but for some reason this works for her. Spock has meanwhile found out that the computer is doing some strange unauthorized calculations and confronts Kirk with a phaser. He brings Kirk to sickbay where Uhura, Scotty and McCoy are already waiting for him. However, instead of the planned questioning, a fight starts. Probably because this episode needed an action sequence. This is actually one of the disadvantages of the high-definition format. You can clearly see which stunts are done by the real actors and which are done by stunt people. But the good thing is that, unlike the first episodes of the first season, the actors actually do a lot more of their own stunts. Couric manages to break a skull on Spock's, skull. They want to leave, but McCoy of course wants to save Spock's life. This all is of course being watched by Marlena on the monitor of the Tantalus device. When Sulu and his men enter sickbay, Marlena has a change of heart and makes almost all of them disappear, except for Sulu himself. Why? This is one of the things I never understood. So, Kirk has to beat up Sulu, and he gets unconscious after being hit in the hand. Wow, what a security guard, right? McCoy orders them to go to the transporter room, saying that he will be there in 5 minutes. So, wait, I thought that he's trying to help Spock because he reminds him on our Spock. However, at the same time, he doesn't care about knocked out Sulu who's lying on the floor. That also seems pretty cruel. So is there anything special going on between McCoy and Spock? Is that why they always argue like an old married couple? I feel quite bad for Mr. Sulu right now. McCoy doesn't even care if he survives or not. He didn't even check his condition. However, Spock wakes up after the first hypospray and attacks McCoy, forcing him into a mind meld. Our heroes find a special guest in the transporter room, Marlena, who wants to leave that universe with them. When Kirk explains that they have power only for 4 people, she doesn't accept that for an answer and pulls out a phaser. And we get a hot, sexy catfight, which takes about 3 seconds. Damn it, why did Uhura win so quickly? They lose power and soon find out why. Spock arrives there explaining that he wanted to be sure they will wait for him. And then, for a strange reason, he transports them himself. He of course has a logical explanation. He needs his captain back, so how exactly does this work? Did they somehow contact the other universe and told them that they should beam their evil copies at a specific time? Because the last time we've seen the evil versions of our heroes in the good universe, they were in jail, locked up by Spock, who immediately found out that they're not his crew. So why does Spock know that he will get his captain back? Is that some superpower? Is that caused by his beard? But no, the story doesn't address that. Instead we get Kirk trying to explain Spock the logical reasons why their empire must be destroyed. He asks him to become the captain of the ISS Enterprise and find a logical reason not to destroy the Halcons. He also asks Marlena to show him the Tantalus field, and Spock promises that he will consider it. Back on the USS Enterprise, Kirk has a chance to meet the universe version of Marlena. Well, I really like this episode. It's definitely one of the best episodes of both the second season of Star Trek and the whole series. It deals with an interesting concept. The idea of a parallel universe where everybody's evil is interesting from both a sci-fi aspect and a psychological aspect. It explores the possibilities of how our characters could evolve if instead of a peaceful federation they were growing up in a fearful empire. They are basically a pirate ship, and it looks like all of the actors are having the times of their lives. They all seem to enjoy playing their evil counterparts, especially Sulu and Chekov, who in this episode get finally something interesting to do. Uhura has also a bit more work than saying opening hailing frequencies or hailing frequencies open, sir. And I personally love when Nishalnikov's got a chance to do something interesting. Barbara Luna was, and always will be, a very charming lady, and it's great to have her on screen. However, I still have some small problems with this episode. I don't want to repeat myself, but I'd love to see at least some explanations. Especially how did the evil counterparts get back to their ship? Also, wouldn't it be great to explore more of the characters? I mean, this could be clearly a two-part episode. Anyway, this is for me the almost perfect episode. On my scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is total garbage, 10 is a masterpiece, and 5 is average, I would give this episode 9 out of 10. But as always, these were just my opinions. Feel free to write your opinions down in the comment section. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you are interested in listening to a Central European guy rambling about different Star Trek stories, check my other videos. You should see some links on screen right now. I am currently doing videos about episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation, and Star Trek Discovery. And of course, feel free to come back next time when I'll talk about the episode The Apple. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye.